Hello everybody, so thank you for joining me today and watching my video. So in today's video we're going to be discussing how to be successful in the pre-clinical years at medical school. So this is primarily years 1 and years 2 in a 5-year course, but if you're undertaking the 4-year A101 medicine course, then it will most likely be your first year, which will be your pre-clinical year. So just a little bit about me. So I've got a YouTube channel called The Medicine Guide, and I've made quite a few videos now on YouTube, so please have a look. So these videos include information like how to get into medicine, how to successfully write a personal statement for medicine, what sort of work experience placements are recommended for medicine, how to be successful at a medical school interview, and how to score highly in the UK CAT. So if you enjoy my video today, and if you enjoyed my previous videos, then please give me a thumbs up on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share my video with your friends, and please comment in the comment section below. So without much further ado, so the outline of today's video will involve firstly clarifying what exactly are the preclinical years, general top tips of how to approach medicine, and then I'll be signposting resources for each of the different components of the medical course, such as for physiology, pharmacology, immunology, histology, anatomy, embryology, and clinical medicine. So previously when you were studying your A-levels, I'm sure in chemistry you were studying organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry. So similar to that, medicine has got various different subjects and components within the course. So the listed subjects are just a flavour of some of the units or subjects or themes that you'll come across in medicine, and I'll recommend resources to help you get the maximum scores and to get the best understanding of each of the different components. Okay? So what exactly are the preclinical years? So there are two forms of medical courses, and this has been outlined in my previous videos, so please have a look at that. So there's the A100 course, which is your 5-year training program. So the first 2 years are known as your pre-clinical years, and the remaining 3 years will be clinical. So in the preclinical years, that's when you'll be building your knowledge up and understanding the basic sciences that underlie the pathology of all the conditions that you'll study later on. And similarly, you've got the A101 course, that's the 4-year course, and that's for postgraduates primarily. So the first year is your preclinical year, and years 2, 3 and 4 are considered to be your clinical years. So just to clarify, postgraduates have the luxury of applying to either the A100 course or the A101 course. However, undergraduates can only apply to the A100 course. Okay? So general top tips for how to tackle medicine. So firstly, to be successful as a medical student and in the future as a doctor, it's really important that you learn how to manage your time. So identify what are your key priorities and make sure that you address them in the day. Also improve your note-taking skills, and whilst this may seem a little bit ambiguous, when you start university you will come to realise that your learning style will adapt and change with the course. So by that I mean, if you're sitting in a lecture, some people may prefer to bring their laptop with them and type out the notes as the lecturer is talking. Other people might prefer to bring a notepad and a pen and physically write down the notes themselves. Other people may prefer to print out the lecture notes and annotate the lecture notes as the lecturer is talking. And so therefore, what I'm trying to suggest to you is that with time, so over the first few weeks whilst you start medical school, you'll understand how your note-taking style will change. You might prefer writing your notes out by hand for subjects like anatomy, but for your lectures you might prefer to bring your laptop and type the notes. Whichever note-taking style works for you, it's very individual and personal. There isn't a right answer or a wrong answer. It's just important for you to recognise what style of note-taking is suitable for each of the different aspects of the medical course, and just trying to maximise that to help you get the most out of your teaching sessions. So ask questions to clarify your knowledge. If you're unsure about something, it's pretty likely that other people in the room will be unsure about it too. Never feel scared of coming across as silly. It's always really important to clarify anything that you're confused about or unsure about, not only for your own learning but in the future. And ideally work within small groups with 3 to 4 other students to consolidate your knowledge, and I think this style of small group working is immensely important, particularly in the lead up to exams, especially for OSCEs, because you can practice some of the history taking stations, and certainly practice performing examinations with each other. Okay. So here are some resources that I thought were really helpful in terms of helping me to understand the physiology aspect of the course. So initially you've got Medical Physiology by Boron. So this is quite a thick book, and it is very detailed, but it really helps you to understand the depth of the knowledge that you need. In the middle you've got Guyton and Hall, so this is slightly less detailed, I would say, and I would say it's far more concise than Boron. So what I'd recommend is perhaps reading Guyton and Hall just to get an initial understanding of the information, and then delving into Boron to help understand the depth of the knowledge that you need. And on the right hand side, Essentials of Human Anatomy and Physiology. This was a book that I occasionally dipped into. It's quite detailed. I would say it's in between Boron and Guyton Hall. It's up to you which textbooks you find to be most useful, but these were the 3 that I thought were best for physiology. Also, I'd like to say that all these books are available at the library on campus. They will have multiple copies of these books, so please don't go online to Waterstones or eBay or Amazon and buy these textbooks. They're very, very expensive, and there's no need for you to buy these books because the university has got more than enough copies of these books at the campus library. And hand on my heart, I've never had to buy any books during my pre-clinical years, so don't worry about being able to afford these books. You don't need to buy them at all. There's plenty of copies available at the library. Okay, so pharmacology. Pharmacology is quite a dry subject, I'm afraid, and I personally felt that the book on the right hand side, Principles of Pharmacology by Golan and Armstrong, was better at explaining the sort of the pharmacology underlying all the different drugs that I came across. I personally thought that was a better book. I liked the way that it was concise, I liked the way it was written, I liked the layout of the book. It just seemed a little bit more interesting. It helped me to understand the information far better than Rangendale. However, Rangendale is essentially the Bible of pharmacology, so for completion's sake I do have to recommend this book to you. It is quite a good book, I'll be honest, but I personally preferred Golan and Armstrong. Okay, but the choice is up to you. And in terms of immunology, so immunology is quite a tricky subject at university, I found, but the books that I found to be most useful was Janeway's book. So this is this blue book on the right hand side, and also Kubi, Immunology. And now, what to consider with immunology is the fact that immunology is perhaps one of the arguably most fastest growing areas of medicine, so there will always be constant updates every year. So I would recommend that you strongly follow the lecture notes that is delivered to you at university, and refer to Janeway's Immunobiology and QB Immunology, just as a point of reference. But the true bread and butter of understanding immunology will be from the information on your immunology lecture slides. Okay. Histology is a subject that I've never really enjoyed, and again, I think it's one of those aspects of medicine which is a little bit sort of similar to Marmite. So some students will absolutely love histology, other students not so, but regardless of how much or how little you enjoy histology, unfortunately it's something that you need to know. And out of all the different histology books that I delved into, I found Netter's Essential Histology most useful. So it's got pictures of the different tissues under the microscope, and it's also got diagrams, and it's annotated diagrams next to the microscope picture, just to help you understand how the structure of all the different tissues relates to its function and how that's specialised. So this is the book that I found most useful. Now, anatomy is the bread and butter of medicine. It's something that you need to know well, especially if you want to be a surgeon, and this is something that you will need to know like the back of your hand, ironically. So my favourite anatomy textbook, without a second's glance, is Moore's Anatomy. So this is the book on the far left. So I really liked Moore's Anatomy. It is quite detailed, but it explains the information quite thoroughly, and I enjoy the layout of the textbook as well. So I would strongly recommend Moore's Anatomy. Now, in the middle, you've got Netter's Anatomy flashcards, and if you look on the right hand side, which I'm just going to underline here with this brown square, is an example of the Netter's flashcards. Now, I found the Netter's flashcards really useful. So with the Netter's flashcards, it gives you a picture. So for instance, there's a picture of all the bones that make up the facial bones. So it helps you in terms of recognizing the names of all the different bones, tissues, or whatever the structure is. And then on the back of the flashcards, it's actually got information, so it's condensed the key aspects of anatomy that you need to know for that particular flashcard really well. And I would strongly recommend that you invest in the Netter's flashcards. So if that's one thing that you do end up buying in your preclinical years, I would strongly recommend that you buy Netter's Anatomy flashcards, or a brand of anatomy flashcards, whatever you like really, but I found Netter's Anatomy flashcards really good. And another resource that I would recommend is Teach Me Anatomy. So Teach Me Anatomy in the bottom right hand corner. So this is a picture of their website logo. It's a free online website, and it helps to summarize the anatomy notes very concisely, very well. They've got very good diagrams. They've also got an interactive 3D human body model that you can interact with, and they've made it quite detailed, so you can look at some of the internal structures should you wish to. And I thought that was really helpful for anatomy. I know that some of my friends, and sometimes when I was preparing for the anatomy session that we would have, we would look onto the Teach Me Anatomy website, have a look at the particular topics. So if we wanted to learn about, for instance, the anatomy of the heart, we'd have a look at heart anatomy on Teach Me Anatomy, and it summarises the information quite concisely. So it's good for a little bit pre-reading prior to the anatomy session. However, you do need to understand the detail with anatomy. So what I would recommend is doing some light bedtime reading or pre-reading using the Teach Me Anatomy website, then making your anatomy notes using Moore's Clinically Orientated Anatomy, and then as you approach OSCEs and your knowledge paper exams, then I would recommend using the anatomy flashcards to help consolidate your knowledge, and hopefully that will put you in good stead for the exams. So embryology is one of those topics at medical school which is quite difficult to wrap your head around, unfortunately. These are the two textbooks that I thought were most useful in terms of understanding embryology. So you've got the illustrated colour textbook, so this is quite a slim book when you pick it up at the library. So it's not particularly detailed, but it's quite concise. And then on the right hand side you've got Langman's Medical Embryology, and this is very, very detailed. So the way that I approached embryology was that I would initially read the illustrated colour textbook of embryology, so the book on the far left, just to get an understanding and just to understand my bearings with relation to the topic that I was reading about, and then I would delve into Langman's Medical Embryology to understand the depth of the knowledge that I needed. And I'll be honest, embryology can be initially quite confusing because it's essentially talking about different structures sort of folding in within themselves and folding to create layers. And some of my friends recommended, it sounds a little bit strange, but buying pieces of Play-Doh and bending them and folding them into different structures just so you can help visualize exactly what's going on as the embryo develops. Personally, I've never really used that Play-Doh technique, but you can try it and you can tell me if that was helpful in any way, and you can post that in the comment section below. So clinical medicine, so as you approach your clinical years of medicine, so particularly in the second year, you will find that there is far more clinical medicine, usually just to help bridge the gap between second year and third year, and this is for the A100 course, and you might get components of clinical medicine, I would assume, towards the end of your first year if you were undertaking the 4-year medicine course. So these are the books that I think are the underlying backbone for understanding clinical medicine, and these are books which I later on used in my clinical years. So firstly, you've got Kumar and Clark. So Kumar and Clark gives you the underlying pathology, signs and symptoms, tests, and also management for all the different conditions that there are under the sun. So it's quite a thick book, it's very detailed, and I think it's very, very useful. In the middle, you've got Rubin's Pathology. So Rubin's Pathology is strictly detailed and strictly used for understanding the pathophysiology behind the disease, so understanding exactly how the disease is occurring. You can also use it for signs and symptoms. I wouldn't recommend it for understanding things like test investigations and management, because I think Kumar and Clark does a far better job at discussing investigations and management, but I suppose you could always cross-check with Rubin's Pathology. And on the far right, McLeod's Clinical Examination. Again, this is the bread and butter of medicine. This book will be so, so useful to you all throughout medical school and beyond. Some people have made a decision to invest in this book and buy the book themselves, but there are plenty of copies available in the library. So it's up to you really, it's your own personal choice about whether or not you would be interested in buying this book. But what I would strongly recommend is that out of all the books that I've shown you today, I would recommend in a set of anatomy flashcards. All these other books that I've shown to you can be found in the campus library, and they will have multiple copies of these books, so don't worry about not having a copy of these books, because that won't be the case. They will have lots and lots. Okay, so these are the references, and this is the message that I want to leave you with today. So let them sleep while you grind, let them party while you work, the difference will show. So medicine is quite a challenging course. However, if you persevere and if you work hard, then you will reap the rewards of all of your hard efforts. So thank you for watching my video today. If you've enjoyed my video, then please like my video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share the video with your friends, and also post in the comment section below. Let me know how you're going. If there's anything that you think I've missed out, if there's anything that you'd like me to improve on better, please let me know. So thank you all for listening, and I wish you all the best.